Okay, thank you very much. I have 30 minutes. It's a big time, per se, when it comes to presentation and public speaking, general. So I'll try to be quick. My name is Ejim Israel, author and founder of Global Park Notion. This is my humble beginning. Not quite long, I was confused, hungry like a lion, seeking for whom to devour positively, whom to partner with, investor, associates, to fund my idea, my knowledge, my business, my existence. I couldn't find any. It started way back to 11. That's about 13 years ago from my state of birth, Adamawa State. I speak Hausa fluent. When I was into computer repairs. In our company, when a big company, we only do repairs. And as someone who is hungry, wanting more, I spoke with my boss. Please, boss, I think since we don't sell computer, London use, and people come here ask us for computer, how about if I start bringing in computer from Lagos? He said, you're free. Since you're the system analyst here and you're the software engineer, the second in command, you're free. But I don't have money then to start importing computer or laptop from Lagos to Adamawa State. A very long journey, 2 days journey. I began cracking my brain. No rich uncle. My father was late. Mother won't support. Brothers, you are a crazy guy. You know, entrepreneurs, they used to see our idea, our vision, our suggestion as being crazy. Nobody want to give me money. There's a young guy called Malvis Edwin Eze. I will never forget his full name. And today I communicate with him. He loves Tupac, so we connect through the music of Tupac. I called him, Malvis, how far? Can you support me with 100,000? He asked me, what do you want to do with it? I said, I want to go to Lagos and see if I can get 2 laptops or 3 I will be selling here. You know, we repair laptop and I'm the software engineer and the system analyst here. They keep asking us for laptop and my boss, he doesn't have time for that. So I think it's a nice business. I did a pitch. Take this very short pitch. I did a pitch. Malvis asked me, okay, if I raise you 100,000, what would be his profit? I said, okay, fine. From estimates, I buy laptop 45,000, then HP, London use, okay, 35,000, and I can sell it here 50, 55, 60 in between. So we're making a profit about 15,000, 10,000, depends. Malvis saw reason to invest in me. He gave me 100,000, 2011. I now add to the little capital I had. I moved to Lagos. As God may want it, I bought 3 laptops. Came back, spent about 14 days, came back because that was my first time going to Lagos for laptop purpose. I have to go and do some market research, survey, feasibility, and a whole lot of things. Ikeja, Balogun, all those places. It took me time. Those that refused to give me money don't even know. It was when I was in Lagos, I had to call one of them, my family member that I'm in Lagos. So in case, like, hey, Jim, what do you want? What do you go there for? What's happening? I said, no, it's for business. I returned back to Adamawa State. 6 days, I sold all the laptop. We made profit of 90,000 naira. Malvis had a problem. Came back. I raised money, sent to the guy who sent me laptop, but that was quite expensive. My boss now began to see opportunity around the whole thing. He jumped in, he gave me money, and that was my first investment. Things close. 2013 to 14, I came to Bayelsa State due to the insurgency, the problem of Boko Haram, security issues. I visited Bayelsa because my elder brother stays in Bayelsa to come and scan the environment, see if there's opportunity I can break in. I met this young man, Essien. He's a web guy, very good at web development. Essien introduced me to grants, Mozilla Firefox grants. I told him, I've benefited investor from a friend, but I've not tried this grant of a thing. I don't know if it will work. He said, let's give it a shot. I said, okay. What are we going to use to apply? He said, let's use a tech, web design, a software that solves a problem for students. I said, okay, good, let's go ahead. We put out resources for grants, do everything, apply. This took us about 3 months to fill in. We are working on AfriHub, AfriHub here in Yenagoa. But this very place is E3. We use due to power challenge. After applying, we try our best. We didn't succeed. We didn't get through. But there's something I learned here, the experience, the process. Midnight, I keep gathering data, information, resources, everything, anywhere online, keep building myself, keep building, never relent, keep sleeping. No, while people are sleeping, I'm busy cracking the code, breaking. I know that if Malvis had given me 10,000, then another person can give me, another organization can give me. All I have to do is replicate what I did with Malvis, pitch to him, show him the profit side. Human being, we are greedy. So while we keep going, these are basic requirements that I developed on this process. I had to put down registration documents, CSC, TIN identification number, corporate account bearing my business name, business website, business social media handle. How do I come about this? It was Sam Essen who introduced me to Grant, now invite me to a seminar where the director for Bank of Industry was there, telling us why we youth don't have access to funds. It was as if he was talking to me personally. I wanted to decline not going to that seminar, but Essen insists. So when I went there, he said that most of us apply for funds blindly. We have not done our homework. We have not done our due diligence. We just apply because we think our business is okay, but we need the basic structure, the fundamentals, the everything you could ever think of. And this fundamental takes time to put in place, especially when you don't have anyone to guide you. After I put on this together, we fell on the Mozilla, but I put down this. I was proud. At least if you contact me, if you talk to me, I'll tell you I'm the founder of this, because I've registered my business then. Everything. Fast forward. Some document I used then, some process, some fundamentals, gave me my first 750,000 Naira federal government loan. I didn't change anything. When the loan came, COVID-19 struck this, I applied as SME, not home base. Your business registered, yes. Name, website, everything. Shocking. Behold, I never believed that this will happen. After applying some years, I got alert, I got message to print and sign the document. I thought it was joke, normal Nigerian thing. I was in Olokoro, Omaha, when I got the alerts. It was shocking. Could this be real? Remember, I only developed my documents. I have not built the infrastructure aspect of the business because I don't have the resources, the capital. When I got the money, I didn't cut corner. Nobody observed me. Nobody monitored me. If I want, I would have flexed the money. But no, I know I have a vision. I have a mission. I'm like a lion. When a lion is set for something, he goes there straight. Nothing distracts him. Because I know I want to build a company. I want to build something that will outlive me. I want to create employment. I want to have freedom for myself. I went and rent office space. I assembled, first I called Mr. Henry, who have been there for me. Henry, I've gotten a grant loan, 2 years loan, 9% interest, 1 year moratorium. It's enough for me to do whatever I want to do. I have to be careful. I start building the infrastructure development journey for Global Partner Ocean. This is me painting the office, the very office if you want, I can show you. painting it, because that's what I'm good at. I'm a skilled person. Everybody was, a gym, you doing it, this and that. I said, yeah, that's my work. That's my father's job. My father is not a painter, he's a contractor. So he deals on building, we does roofing, we does painting. So I can do this by myself. I was managing the little resources. 750,000 is not enough because the office rent alone, equipment, furniture, and a whole lot of things, running advert, you people can relate. I didn't change anything. That fundamentals is what I was using. After the whole thing, this is me. Falls in the office. Cool, right? But goes through a lot of pain. Let me try to, so that you understand. Oh, sorry, please. So you can see it right here, like, regardless of your state and business, be it idea, market entry stage, or existing business, to have a higher chance of winning business grants, attracting investors, and or raising funds from any angle, it's advisable to have your documents intact or at least 50% ready. Very, very important. As you are about to pitch, if you don't have your business documentation intact, I think the chances will be slim, 25 to 10% from experience. Now, some of the basic parameters used in selecting shortlisting applicant by most grant organizations include, how do I get to know this parameter? During my stay in Tony Elimelu Foundation, 4 years, I studied everything they do. I now went to Sterling Bank. I applied to be their loan facilitator, got shortlisted till today. I saw the parameters and the CBN loan. I saw the parameters and I understood that, right, truly we are applying fund in a blind way, be it through investor, grant, loan, private individuals, business focus area, be specific. Now, when I talk about being specific, Anne is Anne, right? Not Anne. There's a lady who pitched on my last section. She pitched two business, car wash and laundry service. And I told her categorically, it will be difficult for her to scale because she's confusing me as an investor. Go with one. Forget about the other one. You knows what to do with it. Projection or analysis, impact driven, experience or leadership, compelling story, pitching concept. I love this compelling story. If you can tell a compelling story, if you can pitch to me, pitch to anybody using a compelling story, you are going to get a shot. They want to hear your background. On our last section, I talked about this story of it's a lot. I share with my screen, my pitch, everything. Fast forward. Most recent partnership funds I got, that was 3 days ago. This is ₦1 million. By the way, there are two types of grants, funding or a partnership. Restricted funding or grants. This is the kind of grant beneficiaries must give account to the founders or investors. Number two, unrestricted funding. These are simply a kind of grant that funders, investors would not require any report, account, or feedback from beneficiary. These two types of grant, I've gotten it. I've known the benefits. the taste, the sweetness of it, and everything. Most times, investors don't want to come into your business. No, by being active. They just want to be inactive investors. They will give you their money. When I use investors, please, I want you to put it in the context of fundraising cycle, both grant, both loan, both personal. Because anybody that gives money for profit and you run your business is considered to be investor. Now, it depends if it could be active investor or inactive investor. Equity partner, he might present his professionalism by introducing you to some other expert that he knows. So put it that way. Now, this person here fund this account with 1 million and he never showed up here. He only called when it's time, or I invite him, come over, let's do audit. That's what is going to happen because he just partnered with my company. What brings to this? Structure. Back to the first slide. Structure and compelling story. Two things. Structure and compelling story. Story will cover the whole part of the business. Then the structure will tell the investor, will tell whoever you are pitching to that you are ready. You have built what it takes. Let's move. This is me. From poor picture, here I am. Never underestimate fundraising. If you patiently endure through the journey, it can take years. This story I just shared in less than how many minutes? It took me years. When I mean years. From 211, and you now saw when I first hit my 750, you now saw the other one I decided to show you. And in fact, I can go on to show you a lot of different years. It takes years. But once you break even, nothing will stop you again. Raising funds will become, you master it. It becomes part of you to just see. People have money in the bank. They just are looking for who have a structure, who can tell a story. If you have a structure and tell a story, they will give it to you. Structure makes you be an authority. They can trust you. You are built in credibility. Then the story is where you present your pitch, either deck speech or verbal pitch on any way. This is my way to Abuja. The other one is Port Harcourt. All this is not my own money. I make money from the profit of the money they gave me. Only quality people. Robert Kiyosaki said, other people's money is a skill that you people have to understand. And she's into confectioneries. Favor, she's into fashion. And a whole lot of you guys are into different career, different field of business. You need money. Money is never enough for all entrepreneurs. In fact, we run on a limited cash. Whatever you will learn, whatever you will watch, wherever you will listen, if you don't have money to implement all those things, it still boils down to just an idea. An idea is formless until you begin to bring resources, material that will form a shape around the idea. It becomes tangible. And those resources and material comprises of ego, money, owo, kudi, chede. That's about 5-6 language now I've combined to tell you the money aspect of it. So everyone, this is how I did it. And I believe the verbal pitch I just did, how I got 100,000, the little 100,000 was what led me to 7-figure consistently, both in profit, both diversifying in other businesses, and a whole lot of things. One more thing I want to point out to you, please find a way to separate yourself from your business. That's what the structure does to you. My name is Ejim Israel. My company is Global Partnership. My account number bears Ejim Israel. Personal account number, the account number of the company bears Global Partnership. Separate the wheel from the vehicle. It will help you. People will trust you. Am I fast? Am I communicating? Are you getting something out of this story? If you look around the whole story, I pointed out some components, my background, my origin, my humble beginning, where I came from, and where I am now, and where I'm going. All these components have to be in your pitch in order for you to get the attention of investors. Your business. I love American Shark Tank. They are more liberal. They are more open than UK entrepreneurs, UK investors. Please, I urge you, whatever you have learned from other mentors, from me, from Ike, from this foundation, go out there, implement them, put them into practice. Have patience. The reason I keep preaching about patience among the Nigerian youth, I'm very young. I'm very young. I started early. I'm very young. I'm not to 50. We are not patient. What I mean, we are not patient. You can't plant a corn today and the corn sprout growth and you get your maize. No. A woman can't conceive today and give birth. She must wait for 9 months, some 10 months, some 11 months. You can't start a business today and make it today. So please be patient. Understand the power of being patient. We're talking about fundraising. Someone cannot just give you his money. This lady that sent in 1 million naira, if I tell you how many months, years, she kept coming, going, finally she made up her mind. You'll not believe that. So if you're patient enough, you get a key. What patience does is tell people that you are consistent in the marketplace. You can handle the pressure. You survive good luck. You survive what's the former president name? Obasanjo. You survive Obasanjo regime. You survive Goodluck Yar'Adua regime. You survive Buhari regime, and you're going to survive Jagaban regime. That's what patience tells about you to investors. Sophisticated investors, by the way, not greedy investors who want to invest in your business to have a huge share percent of your business. Let me give you last raising fund skill that I discovered and helped me raise 111,000 that helped me print my first 100 copy of a book. I bought a book, I read, this is a story, second part of the story. After reading that book, I saw the guy mention WhatsApp brokers. WhatsApp brokers. I said, okay, fine. Raising money is not an issue for me. How can I use WhatsApp now to raise at least 100,000 so that I can print the first 100 copy of my book and make sure I sell it at a cheaper price, market entry strategy. I now assemble brokers. I put a lot of numbers. I went to Google and search pitching, different pitching. I start sending WhatsApp brokers. Hello, my name is Ajin. You know me, I know you. I'm not begging you for money, but I wrote a book. The book is on the printing process. I have the desire to help everybody, every Nigerian youth. Please, would you support this humanity? Any amount, any amount, any amount. Here's our candidate. I did this for like 2 months before they now believe I'm serious. Some called me, Ajin, we're getting a message. Are you the one? I said, yeah, I'm the one. One of our mentor, our colleague mentor who based in Abuja, actually called me after confirming it was me, and I keep sending him the same message over and over. Sometimes I tweak, I change, I bring out the challenges entrepreneurs are having, then I offer a solution. My book would be a solution for them to raise capital, for them to raise funds. Please, let's help these young entrepreneurs. They are out there. They can't afford this book at the launch price. They can't afford this book at the market price. But with your support, they can get it at affordable price. To my greatest surprise, I raised 111,000. That mentor, Atu, sent me 25,000. My mentor called me, sent me 40,000, and 2,000, 1,000, 3,000, 2,000. Before you know it, that was how I raised the money. And I never disappoint anyone. For the fact they are not there, I can cut corner with the money once again, but no. The purpose is to print the book and to sell it at affordable price. I forward the money to Lagos and they publish the book, 100 copy, send it to me. I never put my dime. What a WhatsApp way. If you cannot replicate the same system, it will work for you. I believe I've conveyed a message to you. The next speaker The next guest facilitator will once again blow your mind with fact, data, and more concept that will help you through your journey. If you can put together all that you have learned and still learning, raising fund will become like a normal routine. I wish you whatever you wish yourself. Thank you very much. I know you go out there and smash it. I know, I have no doubt. Without even showing you my slides, my pitching slide, the one I showed to my first day, my second day. I think this is my third day, right? I wish you all joined my class. You would have seen that pitch you are about to face. The lady said she was scared. Would have been a thing of normal thing. Just wake up and go and make a tea and drink. You pitch as if you talk to your classmates, you talk to your son. Hi, my name is Ujunwa. I'm into fashion design. I will need 100,000 from you to buy hairdressing. Why? I'm having a lot of clients and I will be making at least 80,000 every week. We agree, the investors agree. Every week, 80,000. The next thing that will pop up in his mind is, how will I tap into this profit margin? Thank you very much. I will be expecting your questions as the procedure goes. My name is Ejim. Happy to speak with you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we might have to bring on board the next facilitator before we take the general questions.
Okay.
All right. So if that works, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege to bring our very own Mr. Ikechukwu Amajoyi. He is loaded with a whole lot. So let's receive him as we get into the second segment of today's section. Boss, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Mr. Ejim. Thank you very much. It's pleasant to see you and hear you speak this morning as well. And Mr. Igwe, yeah, I don't know what I'll offer you yet, but thank you for getting my son in very accurately. So a lot of people don't get it. So, but thank you for getting it and not murdering my son in. Yeah. I will just build on the existing knowledge base, or on the existing information that has been shared, and I would have. Can someone confirm you can see my screen? Can anyone confirm you can see my screen? Okay. Thank you. I want to put it on presentation mode so it's not distracting. Is it on presentation mode yet?
Yes.
Okay. So today, Mr. Ejim has talked about funding, types of funding, the existing information base, and to say a few things. Now, all of those things he has said falls into several categories of funding. One, when you bootstrap, you saw that when he got the office space, he didn't feel he had arrived. He won the grant, he didn't feel he had arrived. He had to do the painting himself. So part of that flows into a bootstrapping strategy where you just have to, like he also said, be patient, delay gratification, and just build gradually until you get to a point where, you know, I don't think any business really ever arrives, because if they do, a billionaire like Elon Musk won't be out raising funds to buy Twitter and build Neuralink and build other businesses. So it's a continuous journey in raising funds, in reaching out to people. Of course, you know that even when you sell, you are pitching your product to someone. So pitching is something that we do in our everyday lives. And I like to keep things as elementary as possible. when a guy wooes a girl, you are pitching the guy out of millions of other guys out there in the world. I am the one you should spend the rest of your life with because I am this, I am that, right? So back to the subject of fundraising. There are several types of funding that you can access for your business. Mr. Ejim spoke to bootstrapping, trying to do some things that you can. The other one is the loan, which is debt funding. Another type is the WhatsApp group thing, which is the crowdfunding. You can get your friends and family, you tell them that, guys, I have this business, it's the best thing since sliced bread. They will invest their money and you start with that. Those are at the elementary stages of your business. You can bootstrap with your own personal savings. You can crowdsource funds and you can raise a loan. Those are all types of funding. You can also join an accelerator program like this one. And, at the end of the day, you pitch to get funded. And beyond that, get follow-on investments, right? Then you get, with all of these first sets of funding, you are able to build your MVP, especially with your bootstrap and crowdfunding. You're able to develop the idea, build your prototype, build your MVP, develop the very initial stages of your business. Then you can take this business now, pitch it to an investor. In this case, anybody investing that is not an institution, it could be an institution, but it could also be personal, just like the person that Mr. Ejim said invested some money. That's an angel investor, right? They come early in your business when maybe you've not figured out some components of your business. They want to not only support you with money, in most cases, they also support you with their network. Another social capital is capital that is very relevant for every business. And I like the fact that Mr. Ejim here mentioned that being in an accelerator like this opens you up. Your network, there's a saying that your network will determine your net worth. So accelerators give you access to their network, access to market, access to knowledge, several things that comes with it. So if you pitch your businesses, go beyond just the mentality that you want to raise money. The last class I'll mention is the venture VC firms, and that is at the later stages of your business. So angel investors can come in at the pre-seed round, and then you can have follow-on investments by angel investors, VCs, and private equity investors, as the case may be, as you grow in the business. That's where you start hearing, that's where you hear outrageous amounts. Kuda Bank raised 55 million pounds in a Series B, Series A funding to get into new markets across Africa, Paystack, Flutterwave, like that, on a set X number valuation. That's it. So also, I would not leave out the parts that Mr. Jim spoke to, which is small business loans, and they are all over the place these days. And like I say to the mentees in my group, that this is the best time to be an entrepreneur because there's a wealth of information available out there for everyone to access. There's also a wealth of a wealth of resources in terms of human capital. There's a lot of resources around funding that you can access, either as loan, equity-free financing, just like the accelerator programs I mentioned, and what have you. So I've said all of this to build on that background. And then you would be asking yourself, how do you present your pitch? The first thing I can say about pitching is that pitching is you telling the story or wooing somebody to buy into an idea you believe in. Like the example I gave when a guy is trying to convince a girl to be his girlfriend or get married to him. Why are you better than a million other businesses out there? There are also components that allows you to have a structure for you to present that business to the investors in a way that is compelling. Remember, it's rendering a compelling pitch to investors. So it has to be compelling and convincing enough for them. Trust me, as you are looking for investors, investors are also looking for where to put their money. So you hit a sweet spot when your idea and the way you present it crosses off several boxes for them. I might not be privileged to, I might not want to share some sensitive information, but I can tell you for a fact that as a business, we keep pitching. And you should also be careful where not every money is right for your business at certain points in time. There are some Shylock investors that, when the question is about, okay, if I put my money now, how much am I going to get by month end and 12 months? No, you should run. Why you should run is simply because they don't buy into the fundamental values of your business. Getting a fund that matches, that will give you a rest of mind, that will be supportive, that will help you, that has as you're pitching to an investor, you get the opportunity to also do your due diligence on them to get their own plans for you as a business. So I've said that as a bonus. Now, I'll narrow it down to the key things you need on your slide. First, you need a cover page with a tag phrase. Say, I make Ikechukwu bread, the bread that can save your life, something like that. So your catchphrase is something that investor might recall from everything that you said. It's important to start with that. It gets them engaged, and then you make your problem statement as clear as possible. You don't want to tell us how you were going and you fell. You know how our mothers used to tell their testimonies in church. It all began in 1960 when I gave birth to this, my son, and blah, blah, blah. No, they don't need all that. You hit it crisp, clear. Don't worry, you might be thinking how this can be done. I have brought a pitch deck I can use to illustrate what I'm saying. This is an old deck anyways. So when you present the problem, you present it because it's a slide that you are presenting. You have to have it has to have few words. If you have numbers, project numbers. Pictures and numbers tell better stories than words. Pictures, numbers tell a compelling story. If I tell you that investors came to Aba yesterday, you have, okay, no, let me use something. So if I tell you that that people died, sorry, I'm using a tragic event, that people died in an explosion, you'll be like, hey, yeah. But if I tell you that 5,000 people died in an explosion, it begins to come to you. It becomes personal. Okay, what if I have a friend or affiliate that was affected by the fire? You want to start making calls and knowing where everybody is at that time. So that's what number can do. So you present your solution in a way that is compelling, is convincing to the investor. Remember, at this point where you are pitching, it's expected that you have built something. You don't come to an event. Yes, you can come with an idea, but it rarely does the trick. Just like Mr. Ejim said, he had a business. He only needed the funding to expand the business. So that's at the point where you start pitching to angels and the rest. You've built some traction. Maybe you made X amount of money in revenue. You have sold X units of your product. You have entered new markets. You have this, or you have so people on your waiting list. All of those things are attractions. Even as little as registering your product with NAFDAC, it shows that you are ready to get into markets. You also need to tell them what the size of the market is. There are 3 steps of telling the market sizing story. You tell the story from the large pool, the size of the entire market. Let's say the size of the fashion business in the world is 20 billion, but you are not servicing the world. You narrow it down to Nigeria, and then you narrow it down to Southeast if your market is in the Southeast, or you want to capture a certain demographic. You know, you have an idea of the number, and then you want to capture X amount of that number. Then you have to also show us that, okay, when you have told us this size of the market and the market you want to capture, you want to also tell us the go-to-market strategy. How are you going to get to them? How are you going to get to them? Are you going to build partnerships? Are you going to build a factory? Just everything that builds up to getting to these customers and raising the money you said you will make from, selling your product or service. You want to also tell them, because you're not the only one doing this. There's hardly any idea that you come up with today that is novel. There's hardly any idea. Think of anything. There are self-driving cars today. Way back as 1996, Demolition Man, they did a prototype that was moving without a car, without a driver. So any idea you can think of today, you can see futuristic technologies in sci-fi movies. AI that we are talking about today, iRobot by Will Smith, had artificial intelligence in it. So, it tells you that no idea is novel. For that reason, you have to have a convincing advantage in the market. And I will tell all of this story with my brand so that you understand what I'm saying. So just calm down, okay? I know that as I'm mentioning these things, your head is going, oh, you've watched Dragon's Den, Shark Tank. Oh, okay, how do I piece all of this together? Calm down. You need to also tell them that after you've made all these points, you need to tell them that you have a capable team to manage this. And sometimes it could be that this team they don't have all the competencies you need. It also could be a component of why you are raising funds, to hire more competent hands, to expand your operations and blah, 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 whatever it is. But you need to be clear on the people that are behind this brand. What are they doing? What are their jobs? And you are saying all these things, and it seems as if you are going to tell a lot of stories. You tell them, in some cases, in 3 to 5 minutes for a standard presentation. Then you want to tell them what you are asking from them. It could be that you're asking for money. You're also asking for certain expert support to grow your brand. And then when you are done, the last thing on the list is your contact page. Now, I know that you have questions, and I also want to mention clearly now that this is for a standard presentation that you will be presenting at the end of your program here on this accelerator program that you have. There is also the elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is a speed dash, and you are required to do this in 1 minute. You are not presenting with a slide, so your cover page goes off. You are immediately, in fewer words, tell them your problem statement, your solution, the action. Just like the video you watched, the traction that the lady brought was an athlete, a Paralympic athlete that is using the brand, and that was a validation, right? She didn't talk about the market size. She talked about her strategy, and she didn't talk about the team. So you take out all those things until you've gotten you want to give the investor enough to want to ask questions. So the questions will lead them to ask you things. When they ask you questions, then you can answer them, and they must follow this trend. They must always, and another thing, the one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that a pitch is like a story. A pitch is a story, not like a story. A pitch is a story, and I learned this from a mentor during my accelerator program at Pitch. Sorry, let me present that again so I show you. In this picture, you'll find me here. I won the Startup Nigeria grant sponsored by Ventures Platform and I think the Office of the Vice President. You can see Mr. Dan, some of you might know him, of IG Hub. So I won this grant, equity-free grant at IG Hub, and it helped to position my business. So if I speak from a place of experience. Now, the other thing I want to say is that a pitch is a story, and that story you have to tell with numbers. And that story you must fabricate in a way that it flows. Once upon a time, this happened and that led to this, and then because of that and this and that and that, the end. That is how your story should go. So before you start working on the design of your deck, first develop a script. That script is what you will be mounting. That's the thing you will be saying. So you need to master it, refine it, and time yourself severally till you have mastered the flow. When you master the flow, then you can start with your design. So I just shared what a script is. Just like when you hear that actors are reading their script, they are studying to know how the story would go. And then all of that flows into what you watch on Africa Magic Epic or wherever you go to source your entertainment, right? So it happens that every story must have a script. So develop your script first, and it helps you. You'll find out that if you spend more time developing your script, it will be easier for you to develop your deck. But if you do it the other way around, it might be a struggle. This is from my own experience. And before I forget, in case I forget, please, someone should remind me to show you channels, websites where you can go to get free design templates for your pitch deck, because the appearance of your deck is also important, because it's one of the things that will get the attention of the investors. So your pitch deck has to have less colorations, fewer words, and more figures, more pictures in it. So this is my deck. I used it for a presentation at an accelerator, no, not an accelerator, a deal room in Ghana. And this is what the front page I mentioned looks like. The cover page, it says, creating opportunities, improving lives and livelihoods. Then, like I said, you must tell a story. Why are you doing it? Because the investors want to buy into the reason why you are doing that stuff. Because they strongly believe that the reason why you started that business would be what will keep you going even when the chips are down. You want to tell the story. And I know some of you must be curious to know why am I putting my daughter's picture here. Trust me, it got the engagement that I needed. And I'm not exploiting her image, right? But I'm only using it to tell a story. And what was that story? I lost my dad to cancer. So unfortunately, my dad did not live to see my beautiful daughter. She is beautiful. Yes, you don't even need to tell me. So she's beautiful. And unfortunately, my dad could not see her because we lost him to cancer. 35% of cancer deaths result from food-related causes. So for that reason, we launched the KR Foods palm oil brand to provide a healthier and affordable choice for the cooking needs of Nigerians. Now, I think this is covering it, so I have to, sorry. Okay, so let me use this so that everybody can see it clearly. So the problem statement, I use numbers. I sent this, it has even more words than it should have because I sent the deck ahead of time. But if I'm presenting this like you would during the pitching, just put 4 and 5 bottles, NAFDAC, then speak to it. Have less words on the screen, have more figures and more pictures. So I say that 4 and 5 bottles of palm oil you source from the mass market is likely adulterated with Sudan 4 dye, which is cancerous and detrimental to health. And over 70% of the 42 million homes in Nigeria source their palm oil from these markets, thus exposing them to harmful palm oil in the market. And I highlighted pictures to show some of the practices prevalent in the market, unhygienic processes, adulteration, and all of that. Don't worry, I will do a pitch, a complete pitch when I'm done with this. And I go ahead to tell them the solution we have. To address these market failures, we launched the K-Afro's palm oil brand to provide a healthier, accessible, traceable, and affordable choice for the cooking needs of the teeming population. And what are our unique selling points? Our products are ethically sourced and hygienically processed to deliver exceptional quality, taste, and nutrition. It's traceable from farm to table, has a strong product security, affordable, and also in several handy sizes. We've sold, since the launch of the brand in 2019, we've sold over 90,000 bottles across 6 cities in Nigeria through 140 retail, generating over $250,000 in revenue from sales. And in this time, we've raised over $120,000 in equity and debt. It's way above this now. So I told you this pitch was old. So, and you see the way the traction was flowing. It went from one thing to another like that. Then the total addressable market for palm oil in Nigeria is valued at $500 million annually. I want to sell to 124,000 homes within the first year, and overall capture 0.02% of the total market, generating over $1 million in revenue from sales. How will I do that? We'll backward integrate to lease and recondition 300 hectares of palm plantations to increase our capacity from 5,000 to 30,000 units of our products monthly, and additional income from value addition to our kernel byproducts. We also plan to launch our product in pouch sizes to deepen impact and market penetration through divisibility. We also want to build distribution partnerships and launch our commodity exchange, which is a digital marketplace for palm oil commodity trading. We mentioned here, again, I also mentioned that this deck was sent out. We was sent out for the investors to study first, to indicate interest in a business they wanted to hear. So that's why it's a bit worded like this. It's really worded. So the key things here you should learn is, one, the packaging sizes. Our products are divisible in handy sizes to reach a wider demographic. We have a robust distribution strategy, our price points, and the brand awareness. Then you want to compare your competitive advantage alongside with what exists in the market. There has to be a reference. What exists in the market and how are you better? I will skip the next slide and speak to all of these things that I've said now. I need money. So what will I use the money for? Then what shows that I am competent to manage this? We have this team of people working with us, either as team members or as advisors. So here is the end of my story on pitching. And to crown it, I will just do a quick pitch. Pay attention to your timer. You can use your device to see. Let's see if we can do this in less than 3 minutes. Okay. On 3, I go. Good day, my name is Ikechukwu Kingsley. I'm a co-founder at Kernel Link Resources. We are dedicated to improving nutrition security, creating opportunities for economic prosperity in rural communities, and promoting a circular palm economy. In the picture, you'll find my beautiful daughter, Amanda. Unfortunately, my dad could not experience her birth because we lost him to cancer a few years back. Over 35% of cancer-related deaths amount from food products. Also, according to a report by NAFDAC, 4 in 5 bottles of palm oil sourced from the mass market is adulterated with Sudan which is cancerous and detrimental to health, thus exposing over 70 million of the 42 million homes in Nigeria to diverse illnesses. We launched the KR Foods palm oil brand to address this market failure by providing a healthier, accessible, traceable, and affordable choice for the cooking needs of Nigerians. Our products are ethically sourced and hygienically processed to deliver exceptional quality, taste, and nutrition. It has a strong product security, is traceable from farm to table, and very affordable too. Since the launch of the brand in 2019, we've sold over 90,000 units across 6 major cities in 140 retail stores, generating over $250,000 in revenue. And we have raised over 120,000 in equity and debt. The total addressable market for palm oil is valued at $500 million annually. Over the next 3 years, we plan to capture 0.02% of this market, generating over $1 million in sales of palm oil products. To do this, we'll backward integrate to lease more farms, increase our capacity from 30,000 bottles monthly, and additional income from kernel byproducts. We'll launch our product in 100 ml pouch sizes to deepen impact and market penetration. And also we'll expand our distribution partnerships to target new markets and even enter the diaspora market. Our competitive strategy lies in the divisibility of our brand in several handy sizes, distribution efficiency, price point, and brand awareness. Compared to the unbranded palm oil in the mass market, which is unadulterated, untraceable from farm to table, but affordable, available, and accessible. Our product checks off every component of for your healthy living. I'll skip this part. So let me add it. Our impact focus lies on 4 key SDGs, which is poverty and hunger reduction, gender inclusion and equality, and economic sustainability. We're asking for $200,000 to lease more plantations, improve our working capital cycle, upgrade some components of our equipment, and grow our branding and marketing budget. Running these operations with me is a team of 5 with over 70 years combined experience in several competencies relevant to our operations. We have a great product solving a big problem, and with your support, we'll be able to help improve the palm oil value chain and help more people eat healthy and stay alive. Thank you. And that is me being on the spot, presenting my business to investors and waiting to hear their feedback. I believe that with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you, as they say, that you too can do this. It's not difficult. You too can do this if you believe in what you're doing. If you craft your story well, you'll be able to pitch to investors. And on that day, beyond who wins the prize money, you also will get attractions from investors. And I end on that note. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's been quite interesting, and I believe everyone here is everything is adding up now, and they are all making sense. Thank you so much. Okay, this speed deck was sent out. That's why he has a lot of write-ups on it. The pitch deck you will use for presentation will have more of pictures. So remember what he said, okay? Another thing you also need to understand, I just want to emphasize on it again, is the fact that, as you can see, he said they are raising $120,000, right? They are raising $200,000. They're asking for $200,000. They have already raised $120,000 and more. This is kind of an outdated deck. Now, the question you now begin to ask yourself will be, how much is $120,000? or how much is $200,000 they are looking at raising at that point. So if I sell pap, remember they sell palm oil. What they sell, Ikechukwu sells palm oil. There is nothing else they do. It's palm oil that they are selling. The way they are now going about selling it is now what makes it the business. So if you are selling pap in Omongase market, Aba, and Ikechukwu is selling palm oil in Omongase market, two of you are selling pap and palm oil. The difference is now how is he doing it that will attract someone to invest. That is the difference between a small business, what we call SMEs, and what we call startups. That is now what forms your business model. You see what they do, how they go out, get lands and all that, and then run the processing and all that, and then sell through different channels. But at the end of the day, what they do is that they sell palm oil. That's what they do. What you do is that you sell pap. The difference is now in your mindsets. Most of us are building small businesses and we just want to settle with small businesses. We are not thinking beyond the level of, oh, I sell pap, I cannot do this thing bigger than. You see his story and how it reflects to millions of people. After listening to this speech, if you want to buy palm oil, you will buy from him as a what? You buy from him as a customer. You will no longer go and buy along the road. You buy from him. If you are an investor, what are you going to do? You will also want to invest your money. So, how can you on your own begin to think beyond the small business kind of mindset and begin to build businesses that can transform our planet, that will transform the world? That is what we are looking at. We are not saying that small businesses are not good, but we are also looking to build great companies that could turn millions and billions in dollars in revenue. That is what we are looking at. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikechukwu. And at this point, we are going to bring anyone that has, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll take it in order. Linda will call you to unmute, and then you have 1 minute to ask your question. Mr. Jim is still on the call, so let's. All right, Linda, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, Josephat, unmute yourself.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir.
Good
Can you
morning.
hear
Good
me?
morning. Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, let me start by saying you did a nice job convincing me this morning. I was wowed by your presentation. It's actually very, very interesting and suspenseful. Sir, please, I have some few questions. I think I'll begin with what Mr. Ike just said. He said something about the amount you raised, and if it's for SME, whether I won't get up to that amount. So, sir, please, so that we'll be guided, because me, I'm coming out as an SME. What's the stipulated amount range? Now, because your turnover is in dollars. Me, mostly all this thing I've been calculating is in Naira, because that's the currency I'm conversant with. And so, sir, please, for an SME, what will be the range, like either max or medium average? What will be the range, either in dollars or in Naira, that, okay, an SME can have in his coffers, so that I will not go and make a presentation that I will not be able to answer the questions that I'm being asked. That's the first question. Sir, please, I would like you to answer before maybe I proceed to the second one.
Okay. Is it directed to me? Okay, so let me attempt to answer. So what you are telling is the story about your business. If it's not, we did not just fabricate numbers there. In terms of you were citing the $120, right? We are not just fabricating numbers; those are verifiable numbers, because beyond the day you pitch, there will be follow-on due diligence, and they will be going back to verify all the things that you have mentioned. And if those things do not exist, they will not invest. Now, we sell palm oil in the local currency. So what you can do is convert it. What is friendlier for you is to convert to the CBN rate, and that is the internationally accepted rate. Use that to check whatever you've made. Let's say you've made 650,000 naira since you started, and you started 6 months ago. If depending on your audience, if you need to also have an idea of who is coming on that day, who you are pitching to, who the investor is. If it's a local investor, you have no business presenting in dollars. If it's a foreign investor, this is for a foreign investment, right? That's why all numbers were worked out in dollars. That's how we presented it. So that's just the attempt to answer that question. I hope that is helpful.
All right, to add to that, please don't make the mistake of adding Naira and dollar on one presentation, right? So if you are going with Naira, make sure all through what you have is Naira. Like he mentioned, the local investor. If you are going with dollars, make sure that all your numbers are in dollars. Also remember that everything we are doing, this pitch is not just like Mr. Ikechukwu said, it's not just that he wants to pitch. Everything must add up. That is why we have to consider the financial model. What do you use the financial model to do? You use it to know how much you are going to raise, right? So when they say they are raising $200,000, they must have a financial model to say, we are going to hire a marketing person. This is how much we are going to pay, right? We are going to hire a HR person. We are going to hire this. All of those things, as you saw in the financial model, were all captured there. And you can see how much you're going to spend on headcount, your personnel, on salary. You know how much you're going to spend. You also saw when we have advertising spending, which is your marketing costs on monthly basis. So they know how much they are going to spend in marketing, right? They also know how much they are going to spend in packaging and all that. At the end of the day, they can use their financial model to see how much they will be needing in the next 3 years. That is now what they can use to form their decision to say, let us raise $200,000, right? So all of these things we have been doing all through, they are all integrated, right? You cannot just come and pitch without reflecting back your financial model, right? So that is also to add to that so that we can take every bit of what we are doing very serious.
Okay. Ethan, Eze, unmute yourself.
Hello. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, sir. I think I enjoyed your presentation. I don't know whether the noise on my background is too high or it is disturbing over there. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So, like I said, that I enjoyed the presentation is really captivating. And my question goes, let me open where I typed it. where you talk about market analysis in your listing. I didn't see market segment. That is, I don't know, but I think for me, I didn't see the market segment. Please, can you throw more light on that, please?
Okay, I think we lost Mr. Ikechukwu, but he's joining now. Okay,
Okay,
I think
he's back.
he- Ms. Ikechukwu, can you hear us? Ms. Ikechukwu, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. So someone asked a question. He said
Yes.
on your presentation, he didn't see the customer segment, right? You did not capture it, or can you throw more light on it?
Okay. I mentioned it that we sell through FMCG distributors. Yeah. So it was in the slide. Unfortunately, I can't. Sorry. I can't share my screen again. My PC is low, so I would have shown you there. Yes, you would say it, but it's a passive information that can be left out for during the Q&A. It's a passive. So you mention it. You mention it along as you pitch, and I did so because I mentioned. I remember I mentioned one. Our go-to-market strategy. I say we want to build more FMCG distribution partnerships. I mentioned in the milestone that we've sold our products through 140 retail stores across Nigeria. So those are the two channels I mentioned.
All right, thank you so much. So when you look at that, when we see the business model, you see that they are not selling directly to consumers. They are partnering with retailers, right? So your own could be that you are selling, you have a store where people walk into and they buy from you. When an investor is listening to you, they are also detecting and observing your business model. So from what Mr. Ikechukwu mentioned, you begin to see that their business model is around partnerships. So they partner with retail stores, whether supermarkets or whether those in the markets, anywhere it is, but they are looking at partnerships so that those partners who are retail partners can now retail their products, right? Rather than them going direct to consumers. So Linda, who is next?
I can see Blessing Uche raising.
Yeah, Blessing, unmute yourself.
Good morning, everybody. I hope my environment is not too noisy, though. So thank you so much for your session. It was mind blowing. I just said, wow, 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 wow.
Thank you.
I want something when it comes to tax. And you're coming from where the stipulated amount is, say, USD. Do you to tailor your into
Blessing, can you shift a bit? Your line is breaking. Like, can you try shifting and then try speaking again so we can hear you better?
You can type your question and then maybe we'll answer from there. I think the network is bad where you are.
Okay, raise your hands if you have any question for our facilitators today. Okay, Peter's favor, mute yourself. Favor, unmute yourself.
When is anyone here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, can anyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Today's session was really great. I enjoyed both the first one and the second one. But my question is rightly to Mr. Ikechukwu. I don't know, setting you call it a business model for an online vendors, because it's not something that, especially when it comes to for those that have not actually have start making sales, it's just a startup. That's no that's it part, like those places you are writing how much came in, how much have been sold, and communicating with the investors, it look less a plan. Can
Okay.
anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
yeah. Okay. Is that all?
Because the business I'm running is it's
Is a
just a
service
startup, and
business.
we've not actually made any sales yet. Yes, it's just a very new one.
Okay. So the thing I would want to know is there any effort you've made? Do you have any validation that this product, this service, somebody needs it? Whether they are not paying for it yet. Of course, some services can be freemium at first. Like Canva was free for a long time. Then when they started charging, is there any traction that you have? It doesn't have to be revenue. It doesn't have to be revenue. If you have any other thing, maybe X number of people on the waiting list to try the product when it goes live, anything at all. Are you affiliated with, if it's a professional service that you render, are you affiliated with the professional body? Okay, I'm a member of so maybe software programmer, something like that. It could be a training like this one that you've done. You could put it there. Anything at all that serves as a traction that shows that you've put a skin to run the business counts as traction. Just like the video you watched, the lady hadn't made any sales. She only built the 4 prototypes, of which the athlete was using one. So that's it.
Okay,
Okay,
Elisha.
so
Okay, sir, you want
sorry, a
to, want to
moment
add something?
before he comes on board, please, everyone on this call, everyone undergoing this program, we have been trying to correct an impression to say a startup does not mean that you are just starting. You are not called a startup because you are starting. What's it called? Flutterwave, Paystack, these guys are generating over $1 billion in revenue, and they are still attributed to as startups. A startup does not mean that you are just starting. A startup is a kind of business that is designed to grow very fast, right? A small business is a one that is not designed to grow very fast. It doesn't mean they don't make money or they don't generate revenue, but the business model, the design is not designed in a way for them to grow very fast, unlike startups. So if you are going to call yourself a startup, you should be able to show that business model that will drive scalability. That is what makes you what a startup. And remember what we said, that a startup is a temporary organization that is in search of a repeatable and a scalable business model. So please, we wouldn't want you to attribute yourself as a startup because you are starting, but because you have business models that can scale as fast as possible.
Thank you for adding that. I had mentioned it earlier in our former meetings. So
Yeah.
hope we take that correction. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Who
thank
is
you, sir,
next?
for that. The next person is Elisha Michael. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Before Elisha comes, Mr. Jim, unmute yourself.
Just to add one or two things, the last question, and also to continue an existing topic from my co-guest speaker. She was asking about numbers based on attributing herself to a startup, and Igwe corrected that impression so she can grow from there. That's what have been helping me, and I think have been helping a lot of entrepreneurs I've seen who assess one. You can use estimation. It doesn't matter if you have sold, you have evaluation, you have anything. For as long as you have idea, the idea is now on a pilot stage. You can use estimated revenue, estimated figures, estimated number, but make sure you are specific by telling investor that is an estimated number, estimated figure. Let's say estimated, I'm going to sell estimated of 1 million naira in next 3 months. So in the mind of the investor is either he will use that big I to increase it or he will decrease it because it's a pilot stage. That's just my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Elisha, unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Elisha Michael, founder of the Cool Mickey Enterprise. We are into production of car wash, mostly on liquid soap. My first question goes to RAT5, so that we'll get prepared. If we are to be selected, or if I am to be selected for the demo day, the pitch deck, are we going to do it on a PowerPoint? That is the first question to RAT5. So my second question goes to Mr. Ikechukwu. It has been a sensitive question that I will not want to say publicly, but I think his lecture this morning, in fact, I don't even have any question there. All I just need to do is to process those information and see how I can implement it in my own business. I was looking around to see how I can question, but there is nowhere. But the only thing I'm trying to bring out, this question has been bugging in my mind, but it's a kind of a sensitive question, but I have no choice. I have to let it go. Number one, as startups, we are all trying to raise funds to structure your business and to kickstart your business or to go to the handit. Mine specifically is the issue of law, the issue of regulations. I mean NAFDAC and SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. And now, as a startup, I do not have the money to go for all these things for now. And the reason why I'm trying to go for fundraising, trying all sorts to get money is to get, because going to NAFDAC, there are recommendations. There are specific equipment like me that is into liquid soap. There is need for electric mixer that is made up of stainless steel. This is
Hello, Elisha, are you talking? Elisha, are you speaking?
hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
I've been talking all this while. Does it mean nobody hears me?
We had the your thoughts initially. So just to confirm to you that we heard you, you were talking of regulatory challenges that you have, you know, the requirements and all that. So as relevant as it can be to the subject we are having right now, I would tell you for a fact that being in talks with NAFDAC, like having started your you can put that you are NAFDAC registration is in progress. If you visited their office and knew the requirements, you can put there that the NAFDAC registration is in progress. That can happen. That is understandable. From the angle of you using electric stainless steel industrial grade mixer is negotiable. I always say this. Go to NAFDAC, tell them that you're in the small business category. You can start with plastic, and it's understandable. Before we got to automated packaging and filling and packing machines, we were using simpler equipment. And that was when we got our NAFDAC. So that's what I want to say, but it's unrelated to the subject on ground. But I'm saying that as regards your traction, you can say that your NAFDAC registration is ongoing and it's fine. And it's not a lie, because you want to be careful not to tell lies in your deck. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to relate it because in the deck now, when you mention you are maybe trying to raise money to also process your NAFDAC, don't you think it's going to discourage investors? So that is the end of this question, because I was only trying to make it open to the investor that part of this money is what we are going to use for NAFDAC and SON registration. Do you think it will discourage them? Thank you.
Yes, it will. So it will discourage them because they need to know you have skin in the game. So there's something called sweat equity, your own personal equity in the business, plus your effort and other resources you put into the business. Now, if you say, that's why I said, present it as something that only that you say is generating income has not generated significant enough income for you to pay at least 37,000 naira and get the receipt. Why should we put money down? Then you say, there's no money, economy is hard. They say, is there nobody in your family that believes in what you are doing enough to say, okay, let me use this 20,000, 30,000, like Mr. Ejim said, he raised money that way. So you must find a creative way to get because it's a validation you need for investors to take you seriously. So you have to have done something in that regard. So let them say, okay, oh yeah, what's the evidence to show that your NAFDAC registration is really in progress? You present that receipt. It's just one component of the many things you have to pay for during the registration. So this is a free tip for you.
Okay. To add to that, Mr. Ikechukwu mentioned the like kind of the range in terms of the amount, right? And that is why he said investors might ask you, don't you have someone who can trust you enough, or even you on your own, put in your own 30,000 or 50,000? So why are you coming to us to ask for 50,000 naira or 30,000 naira? But let's look at it from another perspective. Let's assume that it's going to cost you 3 million to do that. In this case, it's understandable when you tell investors that we have designed, we have created, we have manufactured the prototype. We have shared it with over 100, 200 persons, and they're already using these products. Now we want to go public. And for us to go public, it will need us to register this with NAFDAC, and it will cost us 3 million. Investors will understand that you can't raise 3 million from your immediate friends and families. That is why you are coming to them. You have already proved that you have created samples, you have sold about 100 pieces, but for you to sell 1,000, you need to go public. And for you to go public, you need to register it. And for you to register it, it will cost you over 3 million. And for you to raise this 3 million, you will need an investor, and that is why you need them to come on board. So you must tell these stories. But if it is 20,000 or 30,000 for you to do that, an investor will be like, why will I be the one to do the 20,000 for you to do your NAFDAC, right? So just wanted to add up to that so that you can have a holistic background on that in terms of the kind of things you go to investor to say, this is the kind of money I need.
Thank you for adding that point.
Yeah. Blessing. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if I'm still breaking up or you can hear me clearly now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so thank you so much for your session today. It's really been eye-opening, and your 3-minute speech was really mind-blowing. So much for that. So I wanted to ask a question as regards the acts. When you attend a pitch and maybe the amount on the table is say $50,000, are you supposed to tailor your request to fit into the amount available for that particular pitch session? Or are you just supposed to go ahead and state what you actually need, even if it exceeds what that particular pitch you're attending is offering?
Okay, it's a tricky question, but yeah, my attempt to answer it would be this: before you started even applying for the program or the pitch, to get to the pitching part, you saw what their investment thesis is. So I think it's best you tailor your ask to fit to that budget. Why is that so? Funding is in rounds. You can raise a seed fund, raise a Series A fund. You can explain to them the path your business wants to go. Can that $50,000 get you to make a sizable traction, convincing enough to get to your series from your pre-seed? Let's assume there is a pre-seed round, and I'm just assuming that a lot of people know what I mean by that. So if that 50,000 is a seed round, how fast can you get to implement the use of the funds to get you to your next fundraise, which maybe you are looking at raising 30,000, 200,000, 300 or $500,000. But and also it ties to your traction to date. So traction and your team, and also the market opportunity, those three components, you never can tell what stands out for an investor. Do you get? So it's always best for you to be on the safe side. Just tailor your ask to fit into that, or you can also point them in the direction that the business is going. They can participate in other fundraisers. So just so you get the money in the bag, could fix it to fit the budget. Thank you. That's a very smart question. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Ikechukwu, that's a very smart question. To add on to that, just like Mr. Ikechukwu mentioned, let's say you are coming to pitch and they're asking for $50,000 and you want to raise $200,000. Exactly what Mr. Ikechukwu is saying, you can still go ahead and say we are raising $200,000, right? But you need to tell the story, probably to say you already have some investors who will complete the remaining part. So if you raise this part, which is $50,000, you have investors who are already on the pipeline for you to complete that raise, right? So this helps you to still stay in course of your fundraise. So everything, I think everything is about you telling the story so that people can be able to relate to it, just like Ms. Ikechukwu mentioned. Okay, so regardless of what is on ground, and also remember that they might say $50,000, but depending on the pitch you are going to, you have investors in the room, not from the program. There might be investors in the room who sees that, okay, if you raise this $50,000, let's say you're raising a total round of $100,000. If you raise this $50,000, the remaining 50 can come from other investors out there, right? So they can reach out to you and say, okay, we can complete it. Okay, so Mr. Ikechukwu is carefully trying to let you know that it depends on what you are looking out for, right? So that you don't say $50,000 and at the end of the day, there are investors there, you want to raise 100,000 and there are investors in the room who might or would have loved to contribute to give the remaining 50,000. And because you said what you are looking at raising is 50,000 and they believe you have completed that round and you missed that $50,000. So most times, most of these things are also from your instinct, from the environment, from the situation on ground. You know what to do at that point, right? So I hope that helps. Then, Ms. Ikechukwu, I would like us in the next 1-2 minutes for us to clearly talk about the fundraising stages. So we have, you have mentioned it over and over. So we have the pre-seed, we have the seed, we have this Series A and B and all that. Can you just help us to explain this in the next 2 minutes? Because the essence of this program is none of us here will go out there. An investor asks you, have you raised your pre-seed? And you ask the person, I have not planted any seed. Like the MVP guy, right? So I've not planted any seed.
Any seed, yeah.
Okay, so
okay.
Yes, so please help us.
Okay, so in the earlier slide I shared, I said you grow your business to a certain point, at certain levels in your business, there are certain funds that are well suited for it. When you're starting, you can bootstrap to get your NAFDAC registration. I'm using that because it's an example that was cited. Then you go ahead, you get crowd funds, and then you get your MVP. Like Mr. Igwe rightly said, you have put your samples in the hands of family and friends, across your social network, and then they like this product and they've given you valuable feedback. Now you are ready to go to market. Let's say you raise your pre-seed round from angel investors. And not forgetting that you could also raise a loan. Small business, okay, so I like to simplify this, right? Majority of the time, small businesses raise loans. Most of the time, startups raise equity rounds. I'm saying this because I know also several instances where startups have raised loans. They raise them in some types of structures. One of them is called a convertible debt. I can't go into the details of all of that. What I would suggest is I think I will share the link on investopedia.com. Go there, you will get everything you need to know about every funding type. Convertible notes is a template used by Y Combinator, where they say, okay, if this business gets to this point, we'll get our next funding round at so discount and all of that. I don't want to go into the mechanics of it. After the angel investors have invested the pre-seed round, as the name implies, it is the seed that gets your business to germinate.
So, Mr. Ikechukwu, sorry to cut you. Can I raise my pre-seed from friends and families?
You can. So why I can say no to that is that because it's not structured. Why I say that is because if you raise your pre-seed from your friends and family, mind you, there are certain templates. If you don't want to be too diluted early in your business, and dilution is simply you and your friend came together, you are co-founders in this business, and your friends and family, if they are coming in, what fraction of your business are they going to take? You don't want to be too diluted. If you are too dilute, if you are more than 20-30% diluted in your pre-seed, it's going to be difficult for you to raise your seed and your Series A rounds. Mr. Igwe, can you concur? Can you confirm this?
Absolutely true. So why we are having this conversation is so that a lot of us can take notes. Like you have mentioned something like dilution. So you have mentioned things like valuation. We might not exhaust all of these things. So persons can take note and begin to go on Google, go on anywhere to ask, what does it mean for me to dilute my business and all that, and get answers.
Fantastic. So just a very high level definition of what a dilution is you own 100% of this, and tomorrow, and so please, I'll recommend 2 movies for you to watch. Watch The Founder and watch Social Network, the story about Facebook. So it will give more credence to what I'm sharing. So you have 100% of, you own 100% of your business today, and then tomorrow you want to bring equity in your business. So when they take 20% of your business, you now own 80, you have been 20% diluted. So moving forward, so you've raised your pre-seed from angel investors. Those angel investors can say, okay, this business shows progress. You also have to define how you will exit the funds, how you will exit the investors from your business. What's your exit strategy?
What do you mean by exiting an investor?
So let's say someone, I just set up myself now by mentioning that, but so I will try to say it in the most elementary way I can, which is someone comes into your business, they take 20% of your business, and at the point where your business is growing, remember, you don't want to be too diluted. You want to now say, okay, thank you for supporting me at this certain point in my business. And you have to return some sort of value for them. How do you return that value that enables you to get, maybe get your equity back, or transfer that equity to new investors at a higher valuation? I don't know, Mr. Igwe, you can also help here if this thing is not clear.
That's clear. So what Mr. Ikechukwu is saying is that an investor has given you money. How will you give him back his money
His
with
money.
interest. As simple as that.
Ex-
So you need to show
exactly.
him, it's not loan. You are not giving out loan. Loan means that you must give me back my interest. But here the person is giving money and you are giving the person equity. So how will you exit? How will that investor exit? Means how will that investor get back his money? So the person can get back his money through acquisition. Another company can acquire your company and they will pay you $100,000, and the person that owns 10%, the investor will get $10,000 because he owns 10%. The person has exited, right? So Mr. Ikechukwu is explaining that you have not been acquired, but as an investor, right, you might still exit even while the business has not been acquired. In this case, another investor is coming in and wants to buy back your own share of 10%, you can now get that new investor to buy back that share while that old investor exits from the business by getting back his money. So in simple terms, most investors will ask you, what's your exit strategy? Meaning, how will I get back my money? Thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu.
Thank you very much for coming in. So when you are done raising your Series A, pre-seed, you now raise the seed round. So just like agriculture, you till the ground, you add your mulch material. That is what the pre-seed is. All those assumptions, market assumptions you had that if I have 10,000 units of pap now, that I will sell it. You've used it to validate all of that. You've gotten traction in the market. And then you now say, okay, I want to get into new markets. I want to get into modern trade channels. Market Square is calling me for 30,000 units. Someone in Canada is opening up a channel for me, like that. I want to get into other African countries with my brand. Then you raise the next round. Then along the line, so you raise the seed round. So after you've raised the seed round, other rounds will follow, either for market expansion or for product to expand your operations or to get into new markets, whatever the case may be. It's no longer to do basic registrations here and there, no. So when that happens, other funding rounds that you can raise are Series A, Series B, Series C, D, E, and that, and they have a range. I think, please, Mr. Igwe, you can help me here. A seed round, a pre-seed round is between $10,000 to $50,000. A seed round is from there up, and then a Series A could be $1 million or thereabout. Series B, as the case may be. One of the companies in Nigeria that has raised a Series B would be Flutterwave at a $3 billion valuation, $3 billion valuation. Flutterwave. They are less than 10 years old. They are bigger than a total of 5 banks combined. That's what Mr. Igwe meant when he said a startup scales fast. But one Blessing and Sons is doing business, is profitable. They are comfortable where they are. Is an SME. Is collecting loan from bank, paying up promptly. That's the funding that suits them. But if startup wants to get into new markets fast and scale very fast, and scaling means that you are scaling without incurring significant cost to get into new segments, to get into new markets. Sorry, I thought to digress and mention that. So you raise those funding rounds. I wouldn't want to mention mezzanine and other types of funds. They are blended funds, right? And then if you were observant, you notice that I put an impact slide in my deck, because there's a new class of investors who want to know if your business is sustainable, if it takes into account some components of climate change and how it is addressing as how it is adapting to climate change and all that. You want to mention the impact focus of your brand if you are pitching to impact investors. So they are a growing class of investors that not only fund you for profitability, they also want to see how environmentally responsible your business is, how your business can help to, at scale, address some environmental challenges from what you do. I can simply tell you this, from my business, we generate a lot of waste. And globally, there's a bias against palm oil production. So how do we position ourselves as a responsible business? There's something called an ESG plan. I won't go into details of it. That shows how you manage your waste. So we repurpose our waste. We are currently doing a research around it to repurpose our waste to make briquettes that power stoves. So that way, we are positioning ourselves as an environmentally responsible business. It's called, there are lots of green bonds out there, and time would not permit me to go into details of it. Like I said, go to investopedia.com. It breaks down everything for you. And trust me, if you are building for scale, this is something you need to know, because you are put on the spot. An investor is asking you, okay, we've seen that you want $50,000. What type of funding? Is it a convertible note? Is it equity or straight debt? You need to know which type of funding that you want. Then even as you try to scale, of course, at that point, you would have gained more experience. So I think that's it about funding. Series A, Series B, Series D. You can look up by looking at the story of businesses like Paystack, Flutterwave, Andela, Kuda, Number, what's this savings app that helps you? Piggyverse, yes.
Piggyverse, Kuda.
Kuda, CowRise, yes. All those RiseVest, all those kind of businesses, Cheaper Cash, they've all gone through several funding rounds. So in case of next time you see a publication that a business, yes, okay, like Mr. Igwe said, I wanted to mention this. Some of these businesses have also been acquired, like Paystack has been acquired by Stripe. Stripe acquired it for $200 million. $200 million is, by today's valuation, is if you do the conversion in naira, is I think over hundreds of billions of naira. So that gives you an idea of the potential a startup has to evolve and reward you as a person. He recently, one of the founders of Paystack recently bought a club in Europe, a football club in Europe. I think Aarhus something, I've forgotten the name now. I think in Denmark, that's where he bought the club. I am not telling you this to tell you that to focus on the money. Focus on creating value. If you create value, the money will surely come. And the money will be so rewarding that you would never experience poverty in your life. And poverty, going out of poverty is not the goal of this exhortation. It's just for you to understand that value is important. Value is the key thing. As you want to raise money, it's first value before any other thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Linda, what next?
Daniel Walker raised his hands. Daniel, mute yourself. Hello, Daniel. Are you saying anything? Because we can't hear you.
Me.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good morning.
Linda, I think he can type. You can instruct him to type.
Okay, Daniel, we can't hear you. You can use the chat box.
Wait. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I think let me use my device this way. I was appreciating for the eye-opening session, and my thanks goes to Saike Chuku for the eye-opening session also. So quick on it, my question, I have about 2 questions. The first one goes to Saigwe. You know, when you were talking about the startup, you made mention of a startup being a business that is designed to grow fast, and it has to have a scalable model. My question on that is, you know, for a business to be scalable, must it be tech-based at the start? That's my first question. And number 2 question is concerning exiting. That was when Saikich was talking about exiting investors at a certain point in your startup journey. So I wanted to know, what if these investors are not willing to exit, or probably aside from the business being acquired now, you know, the investors are not willing to exit, right? Or probably hand back the equity you have to you, that's the own at this time to you. Is there any other means around it? That is, what are other possible exit strategies one can deploy at such time? So citing something like the incident that happened a few weeks ago between Tony Elumelu and Otedola, you know, with Transcorp and all that, he wanting to acquire Transcorp with 250 and all that, but there was no willingness to, you know, the way it went out between the both of them, it was like, it wasn't that much on a palatable ground. So my question is, are there other possible exit strategies one could put up?
Okay, to attempt to respond to your question, I would say first, there are businesses that have scaled and they are not tech businesses. And so it depends on what defines scale. Scale is getting to a larger, growing from what you started to reach, to growing a state where you can reach it as possible. Just to give numbers to it, you are serving 5 customers today. Tomorrow you are serving 100,000. Next tomorrow you are serving 1 million and 1 billion, just like Facebook. That's what scale means. And Facebook is now in over 90 countries of the world or more, right? So that's what scale can be, but it's not limited to tech. I like that you used a non-tech example. I like that you used a non-tech example of what can happen. You know, what is a fight between 2 major shareholders within a business. They are both investors. That war is between them as investors, not Transcorp trying to exit one person. And it can happen not just here, it can happen everywhere. So you as a business person, it's good that you are learning about these things and you think of how you can protect yourself as a business from Shylock investors that would want to either suppress you in a way that is not the case to how you investors. You don't exit because it's a bad thing. Them, they want to leave at some point.
Okay.
They want to leave at some point because, okay, let's say I own 20% of your stock today and your total business is valued at 20 million naira. So which means I own 20% of that value. It's still on paper unless it translates to cash. How will it translate to cash? Just like I said, the simpler and most common one these days is that the early investors of a business want to exit when you raise your sizable fund. And you hear that X company raised so amount at X valuation. Then you see somebody that invested X amount at a certain stage in the business, living with the buy-off, he's returning his shares to the business, his equity to the business, and from the proceeds, he's going to buy a house in Banana Island. Most of us know Aboyeji of formerly of Flutterwave and of Andela. You know, he exited Flutterwave and he's a billionaire and he's less than 30. So you can exit a business, you know, and it don't go with the negative notion that it has to end in a fight. No. It's more or less like, okay, a pastor came to preach in your church and he's going and you say, okay, thank you for coming, offer him honorarium. Do you get? So it's like, yes, I have taken this your money, I have built value with it. This is sorry, that's a misguided example. The parable that was shared in the Bible of people that were blessed with talents, that were given talents, right? The other one returned with double the value and more was given to him. So that's how it is. You return that value to the investor and the investor is happy to, you know, exit and has the motivation to invest in other businesses, because when you exit them profitably, it motivates them to want to invest in other businesses too. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Daniel.
so much.
Thank you.
So I know you asked about the I know you asked about just like what Mr. Kechuku mentioned, right? So, Mr. Kechuku, are you speaking?
No.
Okay. So, Daniel, I know you mentioned the part of scalability, and now if Mr. Kechuku explained that, let me give you a very, there's a company called Copia. Kenya. It's a Kenyan-based startup company. What are they into? They sell electronics. They sell electronics. Just like we have someone here who sells electronics. So they sell electronics. Now, someone that sells electronics can decide to open up a shop along Omongasi, along Abowere Road, or go to shopping center and open a shop, rent a shop and begin to sell electronics. That is a business. But that business, you and I know that it is not really designed to scale very fast. Another person can also decide to say, let us sell online. By selling online, you can reach to someone in Ghana. It's easier, right? So probably that could become maybe a little bit scalable. But what is Copia doing? Let me tell you what Copia is doing. Copia is selling electronics, selling not just electronics, other products, just like Jumia. They sell to rural communities. And how, let's use electronics, for instance. How they partner with agents. They go to rural communities or kind of suburban communities and partner with hairstylists, barber salons, barber shops, go to small businesses and tell them that you can increase your revenue, you can increase your income, you can make additional extra income. When you paste it on your wall, people will ask you that we want to buy this refrigerator. People will say, I want to buy this iron. As your customers are coming to plait their hair, they will see products you want and they will place their order. When they place their order, we will now deliver those orders to you and you sell to them and you take a certain commission. Today, Copia, as at the last time I checked, has over 33,000 agents who are selling electronics for them through that channel. What makes Copia can now sell to anybody across Africa through they now have over 30,000 persons for them. So look at this. Imagine that just one product a day. How many are they selling? They sell 10 in a week. They are selling 330,000 products in a week. That is what we mean by scalability. It does not be technology. That is why we also mentioned that your business model is superior. Your